After building out over 10 vans and buses now, I finally come up with a system for the easiest way to convert them.
We just got this transit in, this is for a client.
Today I'm going to use this van to show you my process, make almost everything in the van completely removable,
and I'm going to show you how you can do it too. So this is a Ford Transit, the short version, and you know I've got a soft spot for Transits because these were the first vans that I ever did. This one's kitted out, it's 4x4 with the front bumper, it's got a lift on it, cool roof rack which would be perfect for all the solar panels I'm going to put on the roof. So I've got 2 weeks to do this build. Let's kind of draw up the layout and we'll go through it together. This is definitely not to scale, but you get the idea. So front driver's seat, passenger seat, they both swivel. Then there'll be a 5-foot-ish kitchen counter and then a fixed bed. Under the bed is where I'm gonna put all the electrical, and then the opposite side will be the plumbing system, and then there'll be a propane heater with outdoor shower. These two cabinets will be the support system for the bed. And then on the driver's side of the van, there'll be an upper cabinet, which is gonna be about 8 feet long. I'm gonna build all the components outside of the van, which is my favorite way of doing it. And for this build, I've not cheaped out on the lumber. Let me show you what we're using for this one. Look at that, look at the edge on this. So we've gone with Baltic birch, also known as Russian birch. So it's 13 ply, 18 mil. So I'm gonna leave the edges of all cabinetry exposed. Alright, so at the start of every build, I really like to not rush into building. I will take a whole day just staring at the van. And then this is pretty much how it all starts. So I'll write a wiring diagram. I'll color code everything, 12 volt, 120 volt, any special things, lights, all my different circuits. And then I'll write a list of all my power needs. And then I'll sketch out just real rough sketches of what I want the cabinetry to look like. And then when I build each component is where I really get specific with things and get all my measurements down on paper before I cut. And the way I build, I don't really stick to these drawings 100%. I like to make my choices on the fly, see what it feels like in the space, will the door open, will it hit? So I'm always thinking ahead and always thinking of the project as a whole. All right, so I'm gonna go with a 54-inch kitchen galley. I always go 19 to 20 inches deep in a van. You can't go with a residential kitchen depth for the cabinets, which is normally 24 inches, 25 with the overhang of the countertop. I like to cut it off at 20 inches, 21, 22. So now I've confirmed my measurements. I'm gonna sketch them up. All right, now I've got it sketched out. I like to include as much detail as I can, lots of arrows, annotations, because I don't think there's anything worse than doing something and then you have to undo it because you forgot that the hinges are going to be placed on a different side, or there's going to be a component in there, or you got to run a wire somewhere. So I always like to be as detailed as I can with the diagrams, make it dummy proof. So now I have the diagram drawn. I always like to figure out the most efficient way to get the use out of every single sheet of plywood. I'll plan how to cut my plywood, thinking in future of, oh, I can use an 8-inch rip for the drawer boxes or whatever it is. So now I'm gonna write a cut list, and then I'll go to my plywood, use my track saw, and cut out all the cabinet pieces. All of the kitchen cabinet is now cut, but unfortunately, this is all I have for screws. I like to use the 1¼ Craigs for the cabinets. That's all I got, so I'm gonna have to get more screws before I can put it together. So I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and start designing the electrical and plumbing cabinet, and then get all those pieces cut. So same process, super intricate drawing, and then make a cut list, cut them. That's it. Alright, it's a couple days later. Honestly, not sure why the delay. I guess it was the weekend. We went to New York, had a nice day in New York. I've insulated it, ran all the wires I need to run, but finally, the thing I've been waiting for. screws. And the way I'm gonna put all these together is all my cross members are cut at the same dimension to keep the whole cabinet square, so I will glue and screw everything together. That way it'll be nice and strong. And those two right there is all I've got time for this evening, but I promise tomorrow, full day of building, and we will make some progress.
Time to go swimming.
Now we're gonna go swimming, that's what we were doing. So see you in the morning. Good morning. It's a good day to have a good day. Do this type of plumbing. I always mount the grey tanks underneath and just have one big fresh tank that feeds the whole van. But because this van is kind of modular, I wanted to have all the plumbing for the kitchen self-contained in the kitchen unit, so you can take the whole unit in and out real easily. So I'm going to pre-plumb all that on the workbench, get it all situated here. I call it work like a gentleman. Set yourself up so you can work nice and comfortable. Quick snack break. So now the plumbing components are hung. The next step is really to get the sink in position, so then I can connect all the hoses, a faucet. So with that being said, I'm now going to cut the countertop, and in the countertop, I'm putting this, let me show you. There will be this sitting flush. Woo! Woo! Alright, let's cut it. This will be a quick connect, so you can disconnect it really easily. Next up, I measured and cut the L-track, which will be bolted to the frame of the van itself. The L-track itself gives us an anchor point to bolt every component of the van into. It's a great system to have things easily removable and interchangeable. I used the laminate for this entire build and will probably continue to use this instead of paint going forward. Just roll on contact cement, or you can get it in a spray gun, apply it to the laminate and the plywood, wait 20 minutes, apply pressure with a roller, and then use a flush router bit to cut off any excess and make it look super clean. It holds up way better than paint, looks better in my opinion, and is easy to install. Alright, it's getting exciting now. So I have the plumbing cabinet pretty much built, laminated the front and sides as you saw. Now I have the water cabinet made and the kitchen galley made. Oh, I also laminated the sides of the kitchen galley. Only one more cabinet to make, and that is the electrical cabinet. Let's get to it. For this client build, it will be used mostly on weekends and maybe some longer week-long trips, so I found that this was the perfect size system for his needs. I always find a sweet spot for the electrical system is between like 300 and 400 amp hours of lithium battery, and then I always go with the Victron components because they come with a warranty, they're very well built, and if you've done any research on off-grid solar systems, Victron is by far head and shoulders above the rest. Got the whole thing assembled, polyed, and I've now got all the units hung. We've got a 3000 watt inverter, 3 100 amp hour Dakota lithium batteries. The breaker panel that I always use, it's got the 12 volt at the bottom and the 120 volt stuff, so it's all in one panel. There'll be an outlet here. This will be the shore plug. And then underneath, the Lynx distributor, which will hold all the fuses. Love using this thing, keeps everything so clean. Got a beefy solar charge controller here, 30 amp DC-DC charger, and just the solar breaker and another breaker. So really all that's left to do with this now is just wire everything together. And this is the part that just takes time. So here's the electrical system, which is pretty much done. This can go into the van today. So today's mission for this Ford Transit is to make an upper cabinet that spans the whole length of the driver's side of the van.
There's lots of different ways to pull measurements for the upper cabinet, but I found that keeping it simple is often the best way. So I'll use a piece of cardboard, trace out my angles from the ceiling and the walls, because obviously we know they're not square. And then once I get a good template, I'll transfer it to a piece of 1/4 inch, or maybe I'll just go straight for 3/4 inch, and then keep modifying the template until I have the desired contours of the upper cabinet.
Alright, the upper cabinet is made, put together. Now it's time to give it a quick test fit. Fingers crossed it fits.
The upper cabinet itself is going to be the only unit in this van that will be permanently fixed, so therefore it has to be sturdy and long lasting.
Alright, exciting moment. The first of the 3 cabinets is going into the Transit. So we're going to test fit the plumbing cabinet, which is right here.
Keeping the drawers shut in a van is very important because you don't want them sliding open as you're driving. There's a few different methods to do it, and for this build we did button latches. Honestly, probably won't do them again. They're very tricky to install, but they look super clean and they're really secure.
Okay, the last piece to go in is the kitchen galley.
Galley? Ooh, that sounds fancy. Woo!
Alright, moment of truth. I'm going to turn on the electrical system. I've put a bunch of quick connects on all of the components, so you can quick disconnect them from the fuse panel, then the wires will stay in the wall and you'll be able to take the whole unit out. So let's flick the switch. Ready? A few things flashing. Turn that on. There you go, green light, that's what you want to see. Alright, this build is drawing to a close. Today is officially the last day, even if it kills me.
Woo! Platform's in.
And just like that, the Transit is complete. Let's go take a 60-second tour to show you the finished product. Let's talk about the kitchen galley. So we've got the Webasto heater coming through there. All of these are on button latches. In there, the separate water system for the sink. And then we've got drawers, and then the toilet on a locking drawer slide on that one. And then right above it, spanning pretty much the length of the whole driver's side, is the upper cubby. So I left these 2 open, which I really like to do with the bungee cord on the front, so you can throw stuff in and it be secure, not going anywhere. And then we've got the 2 light switches, the Webasto thermostat, and then just a 12 volt. 2 uppers, lots of space in there. For the ceiling, we're going with the slat design, 2 LED strip lights, and then these 2 6-inch max fans, which still have painter's tape on them. Let's take this off. And there's also a light switch here, really cool. And then the interesting part of the build, but we'll go around the other side to show you that. So this is where I spent a lot of my time in the build, was building the electrical cabinet and the plumbing cabinet, and then the bed platform rests on both of those 2 cabinets. On this right side is the plumbing cabinet. We've got an external propane water heater shower, so then you can take this, shower wherever you want. And then we've got 46-gallon fresh tank. The pumps and filters are in here. A couple switches here. We've got water pump switch, garage light switch. This lights up the garage. as well as illuminating the tank so you can see what level your tank's at. And then we've got a 12 volt quick connect and water tank heater for those cold times. Then on the left side, this is the electrical cabinet. On the front side, we've got the fuse panel. And then my favorite, obviously had to put the blue light in there. And then we've got access doors so you can get to every component. The batteries are all in there with the shut-off switch on the back. And then a nice see-through window to see the inverter, mainly just for the aesthetic. What do you think? There's definitely a new spin for me doing the modular build with the L track so everything can be removable. It's a very simple way to build a van if you do it right. Maybe you want to put some of these in your build. I'm considering like pre-making these cabinets and then shipping them out, or maybe you bring the van here and I just install it into your van real quick within a day. If that's something you're interested in, DM us or email us. So I appreciate you following along on this build. It has been a fun one, but for now. And then once, alright, this is getting it. Oh shit. Stop recording.